guys, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching today. We're back in Planet Zoo with another speed build, and today we are in Sequora Zoo, which is a sandbox project we've had going on for quite a while now. I put out a poll on Twitter, I think it was only on Twitter, asking you guys which animal you'd like to see next, and the Jaguar won by a lot. So even though it's not a new animal, it seems like it's a popular animal. So here we are, we're going to add the Jaguar to Sequora Zoo. Before we jump too far into the video, just a friendly reminder, leaving a like down on this video and commenting really does help me out. And if you guys are looking to support the channel a little bit more, we do have that join feature down below. For a little bit each month, you can help support the channel, and I also just added a new sneak peek channel to our Discord that is exclusive to channel members, so if you'd like a little bit more behind the scenes look, consider joining today. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the video. So we are making the building which is going to represent the backstage area for the Jaguars. Now, if you guys know me, you know that I don't like doing interiors whatsoever, so this building is going to be completely empty and not have anything inside of it. However, I do spend a little bit of time later on in the video making some fences and some kind of caging system to make it look like the keepers can move the Jaguars around without just opening a door and walking into the enclosure, right? In a real life zoo, you'd have to be able to call the animals off exhibit into a back or holding area, and that way you could go in and clean the enclosure and stuff like that. So I do spend a little bit of time making that sort of implied kind of cage system. However, please don't look too closely at it, because I realized after I made it, the physics of it would actually not work. I didn't actually put the little drawstring. It's supposed to be kind of like a drawstring door, like you pull on a rope and it raises the door up. I didn't actually put that high enough, so as it is right now, it wouldn't function. It would not function at all, but it's okay. It looks nice and we're gonna go with it. I didn't realize it until looking at the footage afterwards, and I just didn't feel like going back in and changing it, so please excuse my little mistake there. But I wanted to go for a circular building because, as always, I am working off of a reference picture, and this one actually was a reference picture for like a whole compound. Like, it had like 4 or 5 enclosures kind of around it. But I kind of took it, tailored it just to work for this one, because I didn't want to, originally I was going to put this kind of out in a big open area in Sequora and make 4 enclosures around it. But then I decided that, you know, Sequora Zoo being more of a smaller zoo was not really going to have like a massive enclosure like that. And I just wanted to focus on the Jaguars for the video. I also didn't want to make it like a 2-hour long video, you know, I could have split it up and whatnot. But anyway, this is just how I decided to do it. We are surrounding the enclosure with lots and lots of rocks, but also the kind of very stereotypical kind of cat fencing, big cat fencing with the poles and the chain link fence, as I've been doing for a while now. It's kind of like my new favorite little fence to do. You can see me working on it here, but we give the guests just a couple little sneak peeks into the enclosure. I believe there's just 2 little viewing areas, and that's going to be the only areas that the people can have a view. With Jaguars being more of a shyer animal in game, I wanted to make sure that they weren't going to get too stressed out. If you guys are following our franchise zoo, I have had enough of stressed out animals for an entire lifetime. So in Sandbox Zoo, we're kind of keeping it in mind, but again, welfare is turned off, so it's not too much of a worry. But yeah, anyway, just doing this kind of straight up with a little bit of a slant towards the enclosure to make it look like the cats would not be able to climb out. Maybe there would be hot wire on top or something like that, just to make sure that if they did attempt to climb it, they couldn't actually get out. But other than that, the whole enclosure is kind of just surrounded with faux rocks, and I do think that if this was a real enclosure, it would be faux rocks, not real rocks, which is why I'm using the recolorable aquatic rocks in this. But I do make sure, even at the areas that do have just rocks as the wall, that this kind of fencing continues over the top of it as well, just to make sure that it's extra secure. Other than that, I do give the habitat a little bit of a slope, so it's going to go up in the back and then down towards the guest. A little technique to try to keep the animals within viewing of the guests at all times, because if we raise the habitat up in the back, no matter where they are, they're still going to be somewhat viewable from the guest point of view, right? So trying to keep that in mind, that it would be a good enclosure. You would actually get to see these animals. The enclosures that I have seen in real life, like San Diego Zoo's enclosure, they kind of bring the animals on and off exhibit because the exhibit habitat is not too big and they really don't have anywhere to get away. So they kind of rotate the cats, through. So maybe this would be a situation like that as well, where some of the cats would be on exhibit, some of them would not be. Because it's sandbox, I decided to put a black Jaguar as well as a regular color Jaguar in there just because I thought it was a bit of fun. And I like the way the black Jaguars look. But no real reason other than just I wanted to. While we are taking care of the rocks and getting everything kind of surrounded with the habitat wall and everything, let's go ahead and talk just a little bit about our Jaguar friends. So I have some information pulled up from animaldiversity.org, my favorite website to get information from when I do talk about animals here on the channel, but let's talk just a little bit about their habitat. So in the wild, Jaguars prefer dense, tropical, moist, lowland forests that offer plenty of cover, although they're also found in scrubland, reed thickets, coastal forests, swamps, and thickets. Jaguars are excellent swimmers and are generally found in habitats near water such as rivers, slow-moving streams, lagoons, watercourses, and swamps. They are not typically found in arid areas. Jaguars have been reported from as high as 3,800 meters in Costa Rica, but they're generally not common in mountain forests and are not found above 2,700 meters in the Andes. In northern Mexico and southwestern United States, jaguars are found in oak woodlands, mesquite thickets, and woodlands. Jaguars stalk their prey on the ground, preferring thick vegetation for cover. Jaguars are also able to climb trees for safety or to hunt. Jaguars require 3 habitat characteristics to support healthy populations: a water supply, dense cover, and sufficient prey. Talking a little bit about their physical description, jaguars are the largest cats in the Americas and the only representative of the genus Panthera. Height at the shoulder may be up to 75 centimeters. Body length is 150 to 180 centimeters long. All these statistics are really hard to kind of visualize, I know. So I'm going to kind of skip over a lot of the numbers just because, like I said, it's hard to visualize, like especially because these are in centimeters, and for me, inches and feet and stuff is way more familiar. It's really hard just like as I'm rattling this information off, to kind of to picture that, and I get it. So we'll kind of skip all the numbers there. They're built for power, not speed, although they can run briefly. A jaguar was observed dragging a 34-kilogram sea turtle 91.5 meters into cover of the forest. So they are very, very strong. They hunt by pouncing on unsuspecting prey. Base coat colors range from pale yellow to reddish brown, with black rosette-shaped spots on the neck, body, and limbs. The belly is off-white, black or black, sorry. Jaguars are fairly common and are the result of a single dominant allele. Very cool. I think that said black spots. Yeah, a single dominant allele. Very, very cool. So yeah, very cool animals. And I think I have read somewhere that the spotted pattern actually helps mimic some of the shadow patterns that would be cast down from the sun shining through the forest. And that's kind of what helps them blend in and camouflage from their surroundings. But definitely going to be more of a sit and wait predator, kind of stalking their prey. Not technically sit and wait, because they are going to kind of go out and hunt, but more of like stealthy until they kind of pounce up on them versus, some other animals that kind of jump out and chase after their prey long distances. They're going to be more of an ambush predator, I guess you could say. A little bit about, let me go ahead and scroll down here to, Wow, my goodness, it's all the way down on the end of the site. I just like to talk about the conservation status with all the animals if I can. Jaguars are considered near threatened by the IUCN Red List. They are considered endangered by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Many populations remain stable, but jaguars are threatened throughout most of their range by hunting, persecution, and habitat destruction. Jaguars are persecuted especially in areas of cattle ranching, where they're often shot on site despite protective legislation. So a little bit of a bummer there. Are definitely a struggling species, not any different than a lot of the other species that call rainforests and things their home. But yeah, that's a little bit about our jaguar friends. If you have any fun facts about jaguars, please do leave them down below. You guys are always fantastic in sharing information that I either haven't heard of before, or sites I haven't heard of before, or clarifying anything that I said. So I really appreciate it and always love reading more about the animals that we're building for in game. Jumping back to what we're actually doing in the build here. So we've moved on, we've finished kind of the surrounding areas, and we've moved on to the jaguar's little pond or little swimming area. So because as we just read in the information, they are always found by bodies of water or rivers or things like that, I wanted to make sure that they had somewhere to dip their paws into to swim. So I am trying to keep a little bit of realism in mind. So I'm surrounding this entire pond with plaster pieces, and I really like those big rectangular square cube plaster pieces, the one I'm using now, because it really cuts the work down in half. Before we had those pieces, I was having to actually make a 90-degree L shape with two different plaster pieces and kind of move that around, and now I can do the same thing but just with one piece. So really, really nice there. I did also take the bottom and slope it down to the back here where I put those drains, simulating the fact that if this was an actual habitat, the keepers would have to have some way to drain all of the water down, hose the thing out, clean everything, and fill it back up again, just to make sure it stays nice and clean and sanitary for the jaguars and it doesn't become still, stagnant, standing water, because that would be icky. And then we're just surrounding the rest of it with some rocks just to make sure that it looks like it was blended into the habitat a little bit. So again, using these faux rocks as areas that the jaguars could kind of walk around. Excuse me, Koa just got up from his nap and he's shaking behind me. So if you heard some flapping, that was his ears going back and forth as he kind of did one of those dog shakes, you know, the one that starts at his head and goes all the way down his body to his tail. That's what he just did behind me. But anyway, so making sure that it is blended into the habitat and looks kind of more natural, right? We are very much taking a man-made body of water here, but trying to make it look like it's maybe not man-made, like it's kind of sort of natural. At least that's what I'm going for. After completing like the rock work and around here, I do very light foliage. I know that in the wild they would like lots of cover, but again, thinking about the fact that this would be a zoo and they could be either on or off exhibit if they were getting too stressed out or only out here for short amount of time. I just mainly do lots of low-lying bush cover with only a couple trees, because I did want to be sensitive to the fact that I can't put trees very close to the edge because I wouldn't want the cats to climb up and out and escape. So that's why we're keeping it fairly simple on the inside of the habitat. I do end up off camera, unintentionally off camera, because I did lose a little bit of footage on the end of this build, but I do end up doing a little bit of decorating on the guest side of things, basically just copying and pasting some of the stuff that I had done from the lemur habitat that's right next to it over in front of the jaguar habitat. So that just kind of involves the double fence, making sure guests can't put their fingers in the enclosure and, get them bitten off by curious jaguars. And then also doing some climbing stuff for the jaguars as well, because they do have that as part of their enrichment requirement. And I think it adds a little bit of something to the habitat to make it not look so plain. So we do a couple little climbing platforms and then also a waterfall into the body of water that they can swim in, just to kind of get a little bit of movement going in the habitat. But really, honestly, we are pretty much done here as far as the whole habitat goes. It was a fairly quick and easy habitat build. The majority of the time I spent on the water, on the fences, and on the building. The rest of the stuff was pretty natural and easy to do, stuff that I've done in other enclosures as well. So as we move on here, get really close to the cinematics at the end. I hope you enjoy those. Do let me know what animal you would like to see next in Sequora Zoo, and as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, leaving a like, comment down below, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really do appreciate it, and every little bit helps support the channel. If you're looking to support the channel a little bit more, we do have that join feature down below, and I am on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, as well as Discord if you are interested in following me elsewhere. But yeah, until next time, we'll hop into these cinematics and I will talk at you guys in the next video. Bye!